Ever since Bethesda teased Fallout 76 on a live stream a few weeks back, we've all been dying to know what exactly the game is, and we finally have those answers. At Bethesda's jam-packed E3 press conference, they talked about a lot of stuff, but they gave us a ton of new information on Fallout 76. So today here on Gaming, here's everything you need to know about Fallout 76. While the previous entries in the Fallout series have taken place centuries after the bombs dropped, Fallout 76 takes place a mere 25 years after the event that changed the landscape forever. The game starts on Resurgence Day, the day when the inhabitants of Vault-Tec's first vault, Vault 76, emerge into the barren wasteland to start rebuilding society in the wastes of West Virginia. The West Virginia waste will feature 6 different zones with different feels, environments, and groups of wastelanders ranging from towns and cities to rural rolling hills and mountains of the West Virginia countryside. Bethesda's Todd Howard then went on to stress the point that while the game will be best played with friends, he wants you to know that you can play the entire game solo, that you could have an enjoyable experience doing so. Granted, it definitely will make it harder to survive if you get ambushed by a group of other players. They said that the map will only have dozens of players as opposed to hundreds, so you very well could wander the waste for a long time before seeing another soul. That said, other players aren't your only hazard. Raiders, super mutants, wildlife, and various other types of NPCs are present and can and will come to fuck your shit up and decimate your settlements and ruin your day. Sure, it'll be harder to fend off dudes and recover, but there's absolutely more of a challenge in doing so. Talking about the map, Fallout 76 is actually going to be 4 times larger than the size of the Fallout 4 map. Now, where that can sound intimidating for sure, because Fallout 4 was a pretty big game, it makes more sense when you figure that dozens of other players will be in the world, and they need to spread everyone out a bit so you're not just constantly running into other players and constantly murdering each other and raiding each other's bases. It definitely makes more sense. Fallout 76 also features major enhancements to the proprietary game engine used for Fallout 4. Lighting is enhanced, the rendering has been updated and overhauled, and the landscape forming and topography is different than the previous entry in the series. On top of all of that, Fallout 76 not only features a weather system, but it's dynamic and changes a lot and factors into gameplay, which has previously only been added via mods and the like. The world also renders in such a way that you can see from a distance. For example, if you're on a mountaintop and there's a storm forming on another part of the map, you can actually see that storm forming in the distance on the horizon. Todd Howard also addressed the concerns players have had in the lead up to the Bethesda E3 showcase that the game would be too much like Rust or Ark and the hardcore survival genre. Howard stressed that it'll be more of a softcore survival game. Dick jokes aside, he didn't really explain what that means, but we can assume that it means there is less risk for death. Whereas with Rust and other games in that genre, a player loses all of their progress and items and whatnot upon death. Speculation is that you will maintain at least some of your gear, items, and resources, and the penalty for death will be light. While we're sure some people who prefer that more hardcore Daisy or Ark level of risk and reward, the lower risk is sure to make the game more accessible to people who prefer a more RPG-oriented experience like the previous Bethesda Fallout games. And obviously, with you running around in a world with other players, obviously Fallout 76 is always online, and it uses 100% dedicated servers. While you are always connected to those dedicated servers, you'll never see a server menu or anything like that. The game will just connect and do its thing without any server selection or ping concerns or anything like that. It's a lot like Sea of Thieves in that regard. Your progress and settlements and whatnot are all persistent, but other people's presence seems to be less static and can change based on your instance server. While dedicated servers can be a concern for some with long-term support, Todd Howard reiterated that they are committed to the game and their servers will be supported and maintained for years to come. And like we mentioned earlier, Todd Howard did mention that you'd be running around with dozens of players, not hundreds, saying that it's not an amusement park, it's the apocalypse. So it's not going to be like running around other online survival games where there are too many players running around, which actually makes playing pretty annoying, seeing how most players prefer to murder other players on site. You spend a lot of time just dying and recollecting all the stuff that you just lost. So with the size of the map being 4 times the size of Fallout 4 and there only being dozens of players and not hundreds, maybe you won't die that often. In Sea of Thieves, I've gone full play sessions that run hours long where I don't run into a single other player because of the size of the map and the amount of people that are in the game with you. And while the multiplayer is definitely one of the biggest aspects of Fallout 76, another big part is the building. The building isn't anything new, we got to play around with that in Fallout 4, but this time around it seems even more woven into the game. Seeing that you're the first vault dwellers to head up to the wasteland, you're going to be the ones rebuilding society. What's cool is that you can really build whatever you want, but you're also able to move your creations to wherever you want. So if you're sick of where you are, you can just pick up your town, your settlement, and move it across the map. You'll be using the construction and assembly mobile platform, or camp for short, and this gadget is what you'll be using to place structures, it's how you'll move your settlement or town, and it's also how you'll place defenses down to protect it from monsters, which could be something as big as a dragon, which you and your friends can work together to take down. And it really wouldn't be a multiplayer game without some kind of emote wheel, and Fallout 76 has just that. So if you aren't playing with a mic or playing on PC using text chat, you're still able to kind of communicate with who you're playing with via emotes. Or you can just use emotes for fun and use the new in-game camera to capture fun moments with your friend. In their showcase, they actually took some really cool group shots of them posing with the dragon that you just killed, and it seems like a lot of fun. And probably one of the craziest things about Fallout 76 is that there are actually nuclear missile sites that are spread across the map. And you can actually gather these codes, which are separated into pieces, so you could actually team up with another player or players that have parts of that code, and after teaming up and activating the code, you can nuke a part of the map. And if there's another player's base in that part of the map, it will be destroyed, so you have to be careful, or if you're purposely trying to destroy that player's base, then go for it. After setting off a nuke, the area you bomb is actually affected by it, so it looks destroyed. You kill off the wildlife, new rabid creatures pop up to attack you, and there are valuable resources in the area that you're gonna want to collect. So you're definitely going to want to check these areas out. You just have to make sure to be careful because it's more dangerous and there's more of a chance that you can die. And what's really cool is how soon you'll be able to get your hands on Fallout 76, because in a very Bethesda fashion, they announced that it will be coming November 14th of this year. There will also be a beta as well, though they didn't say when exactly that was going to happen, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And they also announced an awesome special edition. It comes with a map of the game that glows in the dark, along with some little figurines that you could use to play around with the map. But what's really cool is that it comes with a wearable replica power armor helmet that has a working headlamp and working voice modulation. Just some quick last minute things. Fallout 76 has more people working on it now than Bethesda has ever had on a project before. So this is a project that they're really focusing on. And while there is a questline in Fallout 76, it still sounds like there are no human NPCs, and any NPC will actually be robots, which is kind of interesting. And apparently you get quests from terminals, holotypes, notes, and those robots. And every character you see will be a real person. I don't know how they could pull this off, but if it makes it into the final game, that's really cool. And according to Todd Howard, they're still working on balancing PvP. It doesn't really sound like it can be completely turned off, but he did hint there will be a way to keep it from being the main focus of the game. You can decide to do PvP, being aggressive, or ignoring it. Bethesda said they are working to avoid griefing and drama issues. Also, VATS will return, but since there is an online focus, it will be in real time, and Bethesda also has plans to add content to 76 well after release. Apparently, the game will evolve over time. Howard confirmed that private world will be a thing, but probably not until after launch. As of now, you won't be able to play the game offline, so take that for what you will. And that's everything you need to know about Fallout 76, but we want to hear from you, so meet us down in the comments below and let us know what you think. How do you all feel about this next Fallout title being an always online experience that is kind of multiplayer heavy, but also kind of not? And how often do you think you're going to find yourself hunting down these nuclear sites to just mess with other players on the map? And as I'm sure you already know, hitting the like button really helps us out, and if you're new here for some reason, we put up videos like this every single day, and the best way to get them is by subscribing to the channel. As always, thank you for stopping by to hang out with us. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you next time right here on Game Ranks.